Okay, so we should be able to test our device now, and the buttons are going to be A, B, C, and D rather than the colors. So if I come over here and hit upload, it's going to recompile the sketch and upload it to the device. So it should be done uploading. If we open the serial monitor, make sure the baud rate is set to the right speed. Yep, we're seeing those generic ones. The x-axis is a little off for the rest position, but everything says 0. So if we come over here and move the joystick to the left, you can see -100. Come to the right, maybe off at an angle, that way we can test a couple of them at once. Moving the joystick around, we can see those values changing. And then clicking the buttons. So the yellow button, get a 1 there. And back to a 0 when I let go of it. Then red button gives us a 1 on the red button and a 0 everywhere else. Let go of that. Hit the green button, which is the C button. We see that we got a 1 there. Let go of it and it goes back to a 0. And finally, click the last button. When we let go of it, it goes back to a 0. So we can see it's working just like it did before. So let's go on here and clean up that code that we no longer need from those test values and get ready for the next step, and then run that documentation generator one more time. So now that we know everything works, we can clean up this code a little. So basically everything that's commented out here we no longer need, because all of the initialization is encapsulated in our object. That's the oxygen comment. So those earlier declarations, we no longer need those. We'll probably put a comment here to say what that is. An instance of our control unit object. Something like that. Just some sort of reference to it. Let's say that'll be good. I've got an extra code out of that. And well, we know this works, so we can go ahead and get rid of everything in the loop, because those were all test values. So save that, and you can see the code's a whole lot shorter now. All of that stuff that wasn't separate lines is just one line here now. It took a lot to get that together, but now that that's going, we have our oxygen comments here, and in the split that up into multiple lines. Initialize the control object. So the oxygen comments ready to go, so we should be able to run that documentation generator one more time again. So documents, basic control unit, documentation in the scratch folder. We have the doxy file, open with the doxy wizard, and there is a slight change with the directories. So we're looking at the drivers directory, but that C++ library is over in another directory. So if we go to the expert tab and under input, we can add another directory here. So that is now under documents, Arduino, libraries, basic control unit, and I'll just copy that. Copy that, paste that in, and add that as another input source. So now I think that was only changed. So if we run the generator, it should bring up that code for us. So show HTML. So all that looks the same. I corrected the date. You can probably see down in the corner there, that typo from earlier was obviously the wrong date. But now we have another tab here for classes. So here's all our C++ stuff. Let's check the INO first. So in the Arduino, we have the setup, just have one object. Looks like we get a reference to it, some descriptions. If we go to classes now, we have this basic control unit class. And there's all the methods we put in it. And all of our data fields were private, so there's no need to put descriptions of those here. And then the things we put in, so basic control unit. And here's that @param keyword. Notice how like pointed out earlier, that first line, the first symbol is bold. Is that open? Yeah, right here. So @param, and then the first thing after it is in bold, and then the rest of that is just regular text to give a description of the parameter. And then the return type, well, that one's not bold. We could add some HTML code in there. That's what I usually like to do for the return, is I'll just put an HTML bold tag around that. Just help that stand out. Might as well do that real quick. So come over here. So this is generating a web page. So if we need to, such as here, integers not in bold, and I would prefer it to be in bold like our parameters are, we can just add in, not a paragraph tag, a bold tag, just regular HTML tags, because we're generating a web page. So the end result of putting this text in there is it will know what it is. So replace all these ints with int with the HTML bold tag around it, or strong tag if you. That's much better form. Screen readers know what the strong tag means. So with that in there, come back over here, run the deduction. Oh, whoops. Did I save it? I'm not sure if I saved it or not. Reload this. And yeah, now we have that return type in bold. So I just like to do that, and you can see we're generating a web page, so we can just put HTML tags right in there. And a whole lot of our documentation is already done. All the documentation about this, you can probably use a little bit of cleanup, but it's not an overwhelming chore at the end of the project. Just putting it together along the way. So that finishes up the quickly going over C++ library, which may have been a bit of overkill in this project, but the point of this this playlist here is going over all the steps for a big project. So I wanted to, that's a step that would be definitely be taken in a very large project. So I wanted to go over the steps for it. And yeah, if you don't do memory management, remember you have to use a pointer to the heap rather than put an actual instance on the stack, which means you have to use the C++ notation here. Or alternatively, you could put memory management in your C++ file. And so now we're ready to put together a protocol for other software to communicate with our controller.